Hi everybody and welcome to our weekly Coaches CatChat for the Linfield Women's Soccer Program. Joe Stewart here with you on the Linfield Sports Network with head women's soccer coach Steve Simmons out here on our beautiful pitch. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm great. I'm just marveling at the facility and you know, just to think a couple of years ago it wasn't like this. So just super grateful. A lot of people, our donors and whatnot, stepped up to help our student athletes have this fine venue.
It's an absolute gem. If you haven't gone out here, I know I've said this a couple times this year, but if you haven't gone out here, you got to come out here and check it out. But Steve, let's get into last week's games a little bit. So not the most fruitful weekend for you guys, opening conference play with a pair of losses. Taking first a look at that Willamette game, a 3-1 loss. Yeah. And you guys, you know, it's scoreless through the first half, give up a goal there through the first couple minutes, but then Izzy Childs comes up and ties it in the 61st. And you guys play a pretty even 35 minutes there in the second half, solid back half, but then 2 goals for the Bearcats in the backstretch. What did you like out of the first 35 minutes of that half that didn't translate over into closing that match out?
Yeah, you know, to tie it up was good, and then gosh, shortly right after that tying goal, I think Izzy hit the crossbar on an open goal, which, you know, goals change matches. They change the momentum of the game, and we weren't able to take advantage of that. And I thought we were still trying to be pretty aggressive, and you know, we get caught in a couple moments that we do want to do over again, but they're all really teachable, fixable moments. And so you know, we never want to lose any game, but I think when we looked at the film, there's a lot of areas that I think the players feel that they can address and improve, which is very, very important.
What were some of those things that they were noticing on their own through that film session?
Yeah, I think the overall when they were intentionally aggressive, when our players were intentionally aggressive, they were able to ask more questions of our opponent. And so and that's just a team coming of age, trying to learn and compete at the same time, which at times, you know, it looks like a lot of hesitancy, which I think is what we've experienced in this season so far. But they're aware of it, and it's just a matter of keeping steady and being more intentionally aggressive when we get the opportunities.
And then against Lewis and Clark, a 3-0 loss in that one, but you made some changes to the starting lineup going into that one and ended up playing the bulk of your usual rotation players that have both come off the bench and started this year. But what was the impetus for that change, and what sort of differences did you see it make out there with different groups out on the pitch?
I thought against Lewis and Clark, we were even more aggressive, especially in the middle areas of the game. And the reason for the changes is that I believe that we have to have a rotation. You know, it's just hard to count on 12 or 13, 14 players to go through an entire season when back-to-back games. It's just not possible. And so that means we need to give players opportunities to experience and get better and learn, and right now what we're seeing, the learning can be a little painful at times, but nonetheless we know, again, after watching the video, that there are areas that are well in our control to change. And so you're talking about a new team, for the most part, that is getting used to playing with each other, and not only getting used to playing with each other, but again, there's that learning and competing. And so when you have a player that's learning and the game is coming at you, because it's a fluid game, there's a tendency to hesitate and feel that, you know, what is a simple play is not as simple. And so that's going to run its course. And so you know, going forward into this weekend, we want to be, again, you know, can we be more aggressive? Can we compete on every play a little bit more and just kind of move the needle ever so slightly?
Yeah, so let's talk about this upcoming weekend. PLU coming to town, and then George Fox on the road. But PLU, obviously, year in and year out, under Seth Spitall, they've been one of the top teams in the conference, 6-0 coming into this weekend. But I feel like these are the type of matches where you probably learn a lot about your team, and when a talented squad comes in, especially trying to bounce back from a couple tough losses. What are you going to be looking for to try and move the needle, as you said, against PLU?
Yeah, you know, we're going to continue to do what we do, but just better. We want to do it better. And what is better? Better is being more intentional with being aggressive, being more intentional to ask more questions defensively of our opponent. And yeah, you're right. It's a great opportunity. We've got two teams that are in good form, which means that we have to operate with smaller margins, and that's exactly what I want the players to be in, smaller margins, so that we can improve. And so we're going to go out with every intention to try to win a match and get the best result possible. But to be honest with you, I also want our players to feel like, we're getting better, I'm learning, because while this is, these are short-term scenarios that are very important, it's not as important as the long-term scenario. We're trying to grow this thing right. And this weekend is another great opportunity against two really good teams.
Yeah, and that George Fox game, you guys have really been in some battles with them over the last few years. Overall, 23-23-7 is the all-time record. And last couple of years, you guys split, and the year before that, back-to-back draws, double overtime. Why do you think it's always such a battle when it comes to Linfield and George Fox? Always such a tough match for both teams.
I don't know. That's a great question. Maybe because of the proximity of being in the same county. I don't know. I think, regardless, it's always a fun game to be a part of. It's tightly matched up. And it doesn't matter what year it is, and it doesn't matter who's coaching. It just seems that's just the way it is. So we'll expect nothing less than a hard-fought game on Sunday.
All right, well, there you have it. That's it. Once again, we've got PLU coming here in McMinnville on Saturday. That game's starting at noon. We'll have live coverage for you on the LSN starting at 11:45, and the Cats are on the road in Newburgh. Of course, if you're in the area, not a long drive from McMinnville to Newburgh, so go on and cheer them out up at Newburgh as well against the Bruins. Coach, thanks for the time as always.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.